Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Brendan and welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you guys are having a great day no matter where you are from, because the merge is finally upon us, and at the same time the stock market is going absolutely crazy because yesterday we saw new inflation numbers come out and they were worse. So with inflation back on the rise, everything seems to be falling at the moment. But I want to talk about how the merge can play a role in this and what could happen as a result of the merge in a post-merge environment for cryptocurrency. So right now you'll see the Bitcoin longs chart, and if we zoom out to maybe even the past 5 years or so, this thing is at a historic high right now. It's a very important thing to look into. And when we look at the Bitcoin shorts chart, it's the exact opposite of this. And this thing is at absolute multi-year historic lows. And there's something to be said about this. But with the Dow Jones tumbling to one of the worst places that it's fallen in the last couple of years, I believe this was actually one of the worst days that we've seen on indices, meaning Dow Jones, Nasdaq, S&P 500, since the initial Corona crash of 2020. And so when we are understanding just how bad of a day this was for indices, we can see that cryptocurrencies were actually performing pretty well. Because when things like Bitcoin and Ethereum are falling, we usually expect them to fall several times more than a traditional indice. And in fact, what we saw yesterday are things like Ethereum and Bitcoin fell about the exact same percentage wise as Nasdaq. And so when Nasdaq fell about 5 to 5.5%, Ethereum only fell about 6%, so just about a 0.5% off. And the reason why that's so strange is because when you have something like Ethereum, which is far less in market cap than $1 trillion compared to something like Nasdaq or Dow Jones or ES, which is a multi-trillion dollar market cap in and of itself, that's a big deal. Because what we have is something that is significantly smaller, moving the same that is something that is very, very large. And the reason that I mentioned that, not to confuse everyone and to go over everyone's head from the beginning, because we have a lot of news to cover here. But when it comes to market cap, if you're going to put $1 billion into a $1 billion asset, it's going to double in price. But if you put $1 billion into a $1 trillion asset, you're barely going to move the thing. And so that's why it's so unique to see so much selling pressure happen in traditionals and not see the same level of correlation and selling pressure happening in something like Ethereum. And so when we go over to the Ethereum chart here, yes, everything did sell off for the most part yesterday, but Ethereum is already rebounding. And, we can't really say the same, at least at the time of making this video, for something like Nasdaq. Like, yeah, it's seeing a little bit of rebound, but again, not to the same level that Ethereum is. With Nasdaq being up around 0.8% on the day, we have Ethereum that's up 1.4, almost 1.5%. So the bullish levels and the bullish influence that we're seeing on Ethereum is really, really strong at the time of making this. And with the merge being imminent, it's something to pay attention to. Now, there's still the big argument of, is this going to be a buy the hype and sell the news event? Or is this going to be a buy the hype and buy the news event? Meaning, is Ethereum going to dump after the merge happens, or can it continue pumping? And that's what we have to stay on the lookout for today. So if you're wondering what's going to happen to Ethereum, stick around for the post-merge environment. And historically speaking, after a big scheduled event like this, we would see cryptos typically sell off. However, just because it happened in the past does not mean that it has to happen in the future. So keep an eye out on that. That's going to be your big trigger. I believe it's happening just a little bit on later today. So for those of you who are watching this at a later time, it might have already happened. But I believe it's happening around 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Don't quote me on that, but there are plenty of counters out there. Just the last time I checked, that was the kind of the range that we're looking for here. Now, in other big news, we have the BNB chain and Google Cloud Network potentially working together here to continue the Web3 growth for blockchain products. Now, for those of you that have been watching videos throughout the year, we have talked a ton about Web3 because this is what big money is interested in. Big money has made it very clear through venture capital and investing funds and funding rounds and all that good stuff that if there's one place where we can say that their money is going to, and we know that, billions and billions of dollars, it's Web3. Now, different people classify what's inside of Web3 in different ways, but Web3 has received a ridiculous amount of funding, and so what we have is one of the largest, if not the largest exchange in the world, and their native blockchain, the BNB chain, potentially trying to partner with the Google Cloud work. And so this could be a really, really big partnership, but I think it also fundamentally improves the scalability of crypto and its real world use cases, because if this does come true, this could have a lot of real world effects and it could be implemented very well. Now, in ironic news today, the South Korean court has now issued an arrest warrant for the Terra Luna co-founder Do Kwon. For those of you who are not aware, I believe at the time of making this video, he doesn't even live in South Korea, so they issued this, but he's on a different continent at the moment. And yeah, you know, this just kind of goes to show that these kind of things are taken seriously in crypto. And although they are unfortunate and these kind of events happen, we saw a lot of this happen in the 2008 crash for traditional markets, and people went to jail for that. And guess what? This is another recession, and unfortunately the same kind of thing is happening. And just like people go to jail for this kind of thing in traditionals, you can also go to jail for breaking the law in crypto. So just because you do something in crypto does not mean that you are above the laws. Clearly, he had a centralized presence attached to what he liked to believe to be a decentralized project. And unfortunately, he is paying for his actions, and there's an arrest warrant out for Do Kwon now. Crypto's market cap is finally under 1 trillion following some of this news. We've been really teetering on that line for a while now of around a $1 trillion market cap. That shouldn't really come to anyone's surprise, but this is just a final article that I kind of wanted to scroll through with everyone as the merge gets close. Again, be on the lookout. It's not going to be a surprise if your favorite cryptocurrency exchange halts Bitcoin trade, or not Bitcoin, halts Ethereum trading later on when the merge happens. There will most likely be downtimes, and we've known this because officers from Coinbase and other exchanges have come out and said that when the merge takes place, there might be a couple hour downtime just to make sure that everything is good and safe. And once everything's good to go and the merge itself happens, then everything will be re-enabled. So if you're trying to make an Ethereum transaction, you might not be able to later on today during the happening of the merge itself, but don't freak out. This is your fair warning. I'm sure we'll get comments or people reaching out to me saying, hey, I couldn't transact Ethereum. Did the merge go bad? When in reality, it was just the merge actually taking place and exchanges kind of halting Ethereum trading. But a lot happening over here. Again, with inflation on the rise and the merge happening at the exact same time, I think a lot of people are believing that we're going to see around a 75-point basis rate or hike raise next week. And if that does happen, obviously that wouldn't be necessarily a bullish thing. That's a pretty steep raise. It's not 100-point, meaning that it's not a full percentage raise, but it's a pretty steep one in and of itself. So as we are continuing into the merge and continuing the next week when we're going to find out how much basis points are risen, I think that if we raise by 75 or higher, things will probably react negatively in the short term. And if we maybe go to a 50 or 25-point basis rate, which is more unlikely in my opinion, then things will most likely rise. But with inflation getting worse, I do see it most likely being a 75-point basis raise. But that's going to wrap us up for this video. So if you guys did enjoy this and want to stay in touch with everything involved in the markets, especially with blockchain, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. There is so much great content that we have coming out every single week, and you want to make sure that you are in the loop so that you don't miss any of this. Imagine if you tried to make an Ethereum transaction later today, only to find out that you couldn't and you were freaking out. But luckily, you watched this video and you learned that, hey, some exchanges are going to be down for Ethereum just a little bit later at the time that the merge takes place. But with that being said, everyone, thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you in Friday's video.